What if the oldest religion on earth wasn't worshipping a myth, it was documenting one? There's a being described in ancient Babylonian texts: 2 heads, 4 eyes, 4 ears, skin that radiates light. He stands taller than every god around him. His limbs are long, his form is extraordinary, and when he speaks, fire comes out of his mouth. His name is Marduk, and the Babylonians didn't whisper his name for a generation or two. They built entire civilizations around it: temples, golden statues, empires, for nearly 2000 years. This wasn't folklore, this was state religion, this was architecture, this was law. So the question isn't whether they believed in him. The question is, what did they actually see? The story begins underground. The Babylonians called it the Abzu, a subterranean realm beneath the surface, beneath human reach, where the Anunnaki existed before recorded history. Marduk was born there. His father was Enki, the same god their texts credit with creating human beings. His mother was Ninhursag, the goddess of the earth itself. Think about that parentage for a second. The creator of humanity fathered a child with the goddess of earth, and the result was not human, not remotely human. The Enuma Elish is the Babylonian creation epic, one of the oldest written narratives on the planet, and it describes Marduk in a way no other ancient text describes any god. Listen to this directly. He created him so perfectly that his divine head was double. 4 were his eyes, 4 were his ears. When his lips moved, the fire burned. His limbs were very long. His height extraordinary. That's not poetry, that's anatomy. Most ancient god descriptions are vague: wise, radiant, powerful. This one gives you measurements, it gives you features. 2 heads, 4 eyes, fire from the mouth. If someone handed you that description today with no context, you wouldn't call it mythology, you'd call it a report. Now comes the war, and this is where the Enuma Elish stops being a creation story and starts reading like a military record. There was a conflict among the Anunnaki themselves. 2 of the oldest gods, Tiamat and Absu, decided their own children needed to be destroyed. The texts don't give a clean reason. They hint at rebellions, disruptions, younger gods getting too powerful. Whatever triggered it, the decision was made: wipe them all out. But Enki found out first. He moved before Abzu could act and killed him. A god murdered by another god to stop a planned extinction. That's not a creation myth, that's a coup. Tiamat didn't grieve quietly. The texts describe her as draconian, reptilian, massive, the original chaos serpent, and she came for revenge. She built an army of 11 chimeras, hybrid creatures carrying weapons, scorpion men, lion demons, storm beasts. She appointed a champion named Kingu to lead them, and then she gave Kingu something called the Tablets of Destiny. The Tablets of Destiny weren't a weapon, they were worse. They were essentially the source code of the universe. Whoever held them controlled reality itself. Kingu pinned them to his chest, and the war began. Anu, the Skyfather, chief of the Old Order, tried to face Tiamat. The text says he turned back, so another god, Anshar, looked elsewhere. He proposed someone younger, someone stranger. Marduk agreed, but on one condition. If he won, he became king of the Anunnaki, permanently. The gods agreed, and then he armed himself. This is where the text stops sounding like anything ancient mythology is supposed to sound like. He took a bow, arrows, a giant mallet, an electric beam weapon, and something called the Imhullu, a device that generated hurricane force winds. Read that again. A weapon that generated hurricane winds. This isn't sword and sandal, this is hardware. He also commandeered 4 winds, north, south, east, west, given to him directly by Anu, a god going to war with environmental weapons. He flew at Tiamat. She opened her mouth to swallow him. Marduk drove the 4 winds straight into her body. Her mouth couldn't close, and then he fired an arrow. The text says it split her in half. The chimeras scattered. Kingu was captured. Marduk took the tablets of destiny and was crowned king of the Anunnaki. But he wasn't done. What Marduk did next is the part they never teach you. He didn't just kill Tiamat, he used her. He split her corpse into two halves. From one half, he formed the heavens. From the other, he formed the earth. From her eyes, the Tigris and Euphrates rivers began to flow, the two great rivers of Mesopotamia, born from the eyes of a dead goddess. And humans? Enki took the blood of the defeated Kingu and from it created mankind. That is the Babylonian creation story. Not let there be light. A war, a corpse, a blood sacrifice, two slain gods, and from their bodies, the world we live in. One more detail. The Code of Hammurabi, yes, that one, references Marduk, and in the text the gods Anu and Enlil give him something. The line calls it an Enlil ship, a vehicle with a name. Translators have argued over that word for over a century, but the most direct reading, a flying craft given to a god named after another god. So now look at the full picture. A giant from another world. 2 heads, 4 eyes, light radiating off his skin, carrying an electric beam weapon and a hurricane device, flying in something called an Enlil ship, leading a war between sky beings, splitting a goddess and forming the earth from her body. The Babylonians worshipped him for nearly 2,000 years. They built him temples, a golden statue, an entire civilization organized around his name, and the way they wrote about him. They don't sound like they were imagining. They sound like they were remembering.